Hey guys, hello, happy Monday. Um, I'm going to try to make it through all of this recording without coughing all up in your face, but I do have a whole bottle of water just in case that happens. So I just want to start off this call by saying I know I don't even have the words to say for what is happening right now. But just know that every day I am thinking of you guys and I am just trying to ask myself, what are some things that I can do to let you know that I'm here for you, to try to provide you value, to just try to support you in terms of your health and fitness, and otherwise the best that I can. And so please don't hesitate to reach out. I know I am not always the quickest to respond, but I see them and I love the questions because sometimes I've been doing this for so long that sometimes I forget what it's like at the beginning. And so you asking questions, there's a good chance that somebody else has that same question, or it gives me a good sounding board to kind of jump off and talk about, like I'm going to do tonight with a question I got over the weekend. And so, but just know that I'm thinking about you in more ways than just our accountability group. I am just trying to my brain is just constantly going for how can I help? How can I be of service? How can I provide a light and just be that positive outlet, that positive source for you? Because I know a lot of people right now are spending more time connected on their phone, and there are several accounts that I used to enjoy watching that I've unfollowed because of so much negativity or giving me anxious feelings about what's all happening. And so I hope that by coming to my stories and to my posts and into the challenge group, that you're not feeling that you're feeling kind of hopefully a breath of fresh air and just kind of a community based on staying healthy and staying in control and controlling what you can control and focusing on that 80% rather than the 5% that you have no control over. So, what I want to touch on really quickly tonight, and then also I want to just jab a little bit about April, because, like, believe it or not, I saw something today. I think it was from Twitter, but they shared it on Instagram or whatever. It was so so far in 2020, January was 37 year. I'm gonna butcher it now. January was like 60 days long because January is always a really long month. February was over in a blink. Like we didn't even realize February was here. And now month of March has been 78 years long. And that is so true. Like I absolutely can attest to March feeling like the longest month ever. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way. But on the flip side of that, in another scroll, I saw somebody post that like this is a really great time that people are slowing down, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like we are I know those of you that are trying to help your kids with school, like sometimes it's like pulling teeth and it's like, "Oh my gosh, like how do we do this?" But in the next breath, like I'm more open personally, more open to seeing things that my kids are doing and that they're changing. And I've been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk a lot. He's a crazy guy, but he's so good. um, I really appreciate his perspective on what's all happening right now. And he's been saying I was listening to some of his interviews. He's been doing a daily talk show, and some people he was interviewing were teachers. And I come from the teaching background, so I kind of like perked up when I heard him start talking. And a lot of them, expressing their concerns and all these different things. And one of them was a preschool kindergarten teacher, and so she's talking about her 5 and 6 year olds. And I was like, well, I have a 5 and 6 year old, and she was going into her concerns. And Gary Vee was like, you know what, like for any kid, really, these next couple months, living through this epidemic or whatever you want to call it, living through this, um, realizing the ways that our world is changing, getting more involved with technology and the internet in a good way, like all of these things that they're going to be learning and spending time with their parents. And if you're working from home and your kids are seeing that, like they're seeing that hard work, they're seeing kind of some different views of what life can be like. And none of us have ever lived through something like this before. So there are going to be days of frustration. Trust me. Like this morning, I was like almost going to lose it. Like I get it. I've been there. I am there all the time. But in the flip side of that, you can turn it right around and look at what's a positive about this. And that's something that I've tried to do personally from the beginning is as soon as I started to realize things that I was watching, doing, consuming, reading that were making me feel out of control and like God wasn't in control anymore, I stopped listening to that, reading that, watching that, all that stuff. And so it's just been like control what I can control, which is my health, my fitness, getting up at 5, taking care of me, having headphones in and feeding in on positivity and what can I do with my kids? What can we do today? Relationships, communicating with my spouse. How are you feeling? How am I feeling? What do I need you to do? This is how I need your help. Like all these kind of things. So it's been a change for sure, but I think in what you can control, which is 80% versus the 5% that we worry about and stress about and consume about, we have no control over. Focus on that. Sorry. Focus on that 80% that you do have control over. And I think it was last week. I can't even remember. Where I shared that video on snacking and tracking. And if you're struggling with snacking, challenge yourself to grab out a piece of paper, grab out a notebook and track it. And then add that extra step of accountability and post it in the group at night when you're done eating. But that comes with you making a decision to actually track. Like you can say, yeah, that's great, but I'm still going to eat this handful of jelly beans, but not write it down. Then there's the problem is you don't really want to change because you're not really willing to put in that work and that effort towards it, right? So I still want to encourage you to do that because I know I'm going to talk about it a little bit tonight as well. But when I first started with 2B Mindset, that was really the first time that tracking was thought of, introduced. I started doing it and it made me so much more conscious of what I was eating, what I was consuming, how much I was eating, and just kind of noticing the changes and the trends in my body. And so I'll be honest, I always have these intentions of tracking and I still struggle, I still lack, but I was very diligent in the beginning of building my foundation. So I now know kind of what works for my body and what doesn't, and what will produce a weight loss day for me and what will produce either staying the same or moving on. And I'm going to talk or going up. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well too. But that came from months, and I'm talking, I started in February of 2018 and I was pregnant, like 6 months pregnant, 7 months pregnant when I started with 2B Mindset. So obviously I wasn't losing weight, but so I started then, built the foundation of the program, learned it, had Cambry in May, and then have really, truly been using 2B Mindset ever since. And so, but I built that foundation in those months of my pregnancy. And then right after she was born, of really establishing that mindset of 3 meals a day, a snack if necessary. Here's what I eat at each meal, and here's why. And that why part was huge for me to make that shift in my brain. I'm going to share a little bit about that tonight with you. If you haven't done 2B Mindset, this philosophy you can transfer over to the containers as well too. The containers is what I did for years. It is what I did from when I started, and I made a skeleton meal plan with the containers. What really flipped it for me with the containers was when I did the Shift Shop nutrition plan, because he really laid out having these containers, he flipped around the days and really, he basically said, like, eat these 3 containers at breakfast on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Fill them with whatever you want, but eat them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And that's what I needed. I needed something just laid out there in front of me. Then came 80-Day Obsession, which did very much the same thing. It was just a little more rigid, a little bit more laid out in place. And then it's just progressed the container system, Ultimate Portion Fix, all that kind of stuff. The containers, they just, for me, they don't work. The restriction, and I think that's because I went to 2B Mindset, absolutely loved it, saw the best success and results ever with it, the freedom, And then for the containers for Portion Fix, it just puts me back in a box. And me personally, when I am using the containers, tracking the containers, doing all that stuff, I overthink it and I tend to not stay on track as much because it's too much work for me. For me. Now, I know a couple of my challengers and coaches, they love Portion Fix. They love the containers. They need that strictness. They need that box to be put in to say, eat this here, eat this here, eat this here. They need that. And so whatever it is for you, and I should find it. There was a comparison on if you're this is the program for you. If you're this is the program for you. But I just found through hearing Alana's story, and maybe it's because she had a huge transformation herself, and so I just felt like I could relate to her a little bit more as well. But just hearing her break down nutrition and hearing her break down eating and all this kind of stuff. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off track from what I wanted to talk about. So with tubing mindset, and you can translate these to the containers as well in terms of eating vegetables, eating carbohydrates, eating proteins. So the question I got this weekend was, with tubing mindset, you are supposed to have a carb, or she calls them FFC, and I can't think of what FFC stands for right now, but your carb, one at breakfast, one at lunch, none at dinner. Dinner, because the purpose of carbohydrates is to give you energy, to give you fuel, energy, energize your body, get you through to the next activity, all those things. You eat supper at 6 o'clock at night, what do you need energy for? Nothing, because you're going to bed. So the question was, do I eat FFCs at night? Because sometimes when I post my food, I do, and sometimes I don't. So here's the short answer to that question. When I am truly being on track, truly being dialed into my nutrition, truly being focused on reaching my goals, no, I do not have carbs at dinner. When I am focused and determined to make the next day a weight loss day. Now, when I want to eat with my family, and I shouldn't say when I want to eat with my family, when I want to eat, make, have foods that have a carb in them, like a tortilla, like if we have like enchiladas or pizza or whatever, I will sometimes have a carb at supper because I'm making something and I'm not going to just like pick out the noodles from the mac and cheese and just have cheese, right? So when I am super dialed in and focused, I don't have a carb. When I am, oh, it's okay. Like I don't mind if the scale, whatever, blah, blah, I want to eat the pizza, I eat it. So it really is a lot of my mindset. But I also know the next day when I get on the scale and I had pizza for supper, the scale is probably going to go up or stay the same. And I know that's why. So instead of me getting on the scale and being, dang it, I ate 3 pieces of pizza last night and the scale went up a pound. I cannot believe that. I had 3 pieces of pizza at 6 o'clock at night and it's now 5 in the morning. That's not even 12 hours. My body probably is like, what is going on? It didn't have time to digest it. Didn't have time to work its way through. That pizza's just sitting in my gut. Duh, like what did I think was going to happen, right? But here's the other thing with that. If I do have pizza, the next day I will try really hard to get back on it and not have a carb at supper, okay? Because I've learned that if I go more than 2 days, or even with this, like more than 1 day, with having a treat, a cheat, a carb at supper, whatever, then the next, like if I go more than 2 days in a row, then it starts to become a bad habit. It starts to have a negative effect on my body, my weight, like all that kind of stuff. So like, for example, last night or yesterday, one of my meals yesterday, I did have pizza. Okay. So I had pizza. So tonight, or even like, I just did not have a good weekend of eating. I did not. I had like, we just kind of ate some junk and just random things. I was full and I kept eating. Like it was one of those kind of weekends. Happens. Got on the scales this morning. I was like, holy moly, mother of scales, right? But I knew it was because of everything I ate over the weekend, right? So today I had a carb at breakfast. I did not at lunch. So I skipped a carb at lunch and I did not have a carb at supper. So and this is what I do. I tweaked the plan a little bit because I'm like, okay, really, like my body had enough carbs. There should be some energy still stored in there somewhere. And I have a really bad headache tonight. Yes, I was outside. I was in the sun. I was in the wind. Like, I know that. But I also think it's because I went from eating all that stuff all weekend and then today eating super clean that it's just taking a toll on my body, right? But I know that tomorrow should make a difference on the scale. And I'm going to go tomorrow and not have a carb at supper to see that scale move again in the right direction, get myself back on track. Okay. But that came with time of tracking, processing, realize what was happening. And so I can almost guarantee, that I don't have a carb at supper like the plan says, because you don't need energy before bed, and I don't eat super late. Like if I eat like before 6:30, I have to eat supper, then I will probably have a weight loss day because of how my body works and how it uses the food and how the program is set up. So with carbs, breakfast, 1 serving of a carb at breakfast and at lunch. And if you're not familiar with 2B Mindset, she uses the plate it method. So like for breakfast, it's half protein, half carb. And then I always have my Shakeology. So I always have, I throw my power greens in there. So I always have a veggie. That's optional at breakfast, but I always throw that in there. And then lunch is half veggies, a quarter protein, and a quarter carb. And then supper is half veggies, sorry, 3/4 veggies, a quarter protein. So supper is mainly veggies and a little bit of protein. So reasons for all the veggies is they're fibrous, they're good for you, and they fill you up, keep you fuller longer. Same with protein. Obviously, we know protein to rebuild, repair muscles and your tissues and your skin, all that good stuff, but also keep you full and giving you those enough energy and fuel and sustainability to get through. On a good day, when like today, I can make it through with those 3 meals because of just how I spaced it out. And that took after I had Cambry. So May 2018, probably July, probably a good year, less than that. I mean, not quite a year, but several months of testing out what works well for me, or what works well for me in terms of when I eat, how I eat, what I eat, and so on. So for example, I was going to screenshot this last night and I forgot. I was laying in bed. So last week, Monday, great nutrition day. Awesome. Tuesday, for whatever reason, I wasn't feeling the best. I was kind of battling like the sinus cold thing. And so I got up, got the kid, did my workout, blah, 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 blah. And then the kids had leftover Pop-Tarts sitting on the table after breakfast. So I had my Recover, and instead of going and making my Shakeology, I went and had their Pop-Tart. And then I wasn't hungry by around the time that I would normally have my Shakeology. So by the time that I got hungry to have my Shakeology, it was like 11:15. I'm like, oh gosh, it's almost lunchtime. So I had a little snacky snack, and that really wasn't, I can't even remember what it was. Chips and salsa probably. Not that great. And then lunch rolled around, and by that time I was just feeling blah. So I had something crappy for lunch. And then it was just like, I just ate crap all day Tuesday. Wednesday, stuck back to my routine. Had my Energize, worked out, had my Recover. 2 hours later, had my Shakeology. Then 3 hours later, I had my lunch. 3 hours later, I had my supper, and it was a great day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, exact same thing. Started off with my Shakeology. Saturday, I did not. We did that live workout, so I had my Recover later at like 9 o'clock. And so then by 11:30, I was like, oh my gosh, I need my Shakeology. Like, what am I going to do? Oh, well, it's already 11:30, and I had a little bit of a Pop-Tart before because my kids left it sitting out. So I ate that. Wasn't hungry for my Shakeology, so I made mac and cheese, had mac and cheese. Then supper was probably pizza or something. I don't know. So it just kind of spiraled that way. And so Sunday, I woke up or worked out late again. But what I did was I mixed my Recover and my Shakeology and just had it all together because I learned my lesson from Saturday, right? But I wanted to show that the days where I did not make having my Shakeology a point or your constant breakfast, right? your constant routine of food, it led to terrible eating days, eating the rest of the day. So to get back to the original question on carb at supper, carb not at supper, it's all about what I want. And so I try not to go more than 2 nights without eating crappy meals. That sounds so bad, but not more than 2 nights. And I do try. If I'm really truly wanting to buckle down and maintain my weight slash lose, I don't have carb at dinner. No, because of the point of it being to give you energy and then not really needing it, right? But I make sure to have veggies. I make sure to have protein. And those are the times where I see it best with my body and with changes. So I think, let me check here. I think that was the main question. Yes. So it definitely is a bit, it's a lot of your mindset. And if you have a spouse that wants a carb at dinner, I've done that before where like we've had protein. I make a veggie. I may be the only one that eats that veggie, but I have it, and then I make everybody else like mac and cheese or potato or carbs or french fry or whatever. And so I just maybe have a bite or two, but I maybe necessarily don't have a whole serving. So if you have somebody like that is that meat and potatoes, I have been known to like grab the pre-cut bags or pre-cut myself, whatever, and make my own veggies, or even just throw together a salad or something when I'm really wanting to stick to my goals and to focus on that. So it is definitely a lot of your mindset. It's a lot of deciding if your goals mean more than that carb or that treat meal, cheat meal, crap meal, whatever. So after Saturday and then yesterday having my Shakeology with my Recover, and then today, today I drastically changed my nutrition and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it today, but I also know that tomorrow I'll come back. I'll hopefully like see a better number on the scale. I will feel a little bit clearer. If it'll feel a little bit more refreshed, getting that sugar out of me, all that good stuff. So, all right. I truly, truly hope that was helpful. If not, I'm sorry. I wasted your time. uh, and that's what I got. But I love questions like that. I do love questions because I do get questions a lot on those of you that have done 2B mindset. Ask the question. I get that a lot. Fruit in the 2B mindset plan, fruit counts as a carb, as an FFC. So that's when I make my Shakeology in the morning. I will have my fruit then. And I finally found frozen blueberries at the grocery store, so I can finally open my bag of strawberry and have strawberry blueberry tomorrow morning. Yes. So sometimes if I don't have a carb, like at lunch, if I don't, for whatever reason, if I'm having a taco salad or whatever, and then there's not a carb, a lot of times it's because I maybe am going to have a carb at dinner, or I maybe had too many the day before. So it's consistency, but for me it's more of a like a mental thing. I have to make that shift, that mind shift. So, all right. Again, I hope that was helpful. Do not hesitate to reach out with questions. April, I want to talk about April. So I'm going to work on some content tomorrow for like an April challenge, April calendar, April thing to do. But I wanted to throw out there and see if anybody would be interested in doing like a 30-day challenge. So like abs, booty, arms, push-ups, whatever, something like that. So I'm going to throw I'll email the options with the recording when I do that tomorrow. And then I'll also throw up a post in the tracker, and I'll message everybody the post, and we'll see kind of what gets the most votes, and go from there. So I was thinking about doing something fun like that in April, just to, work an extra body part every once in a while. So, All right. I will share more with you on that tomorrow. Today we were honestly outside a ton today. So hope you got to spend some time outside too. So have a great night, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you later.